We're looking at practice clips from Minicamp and OTAs, and today we're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars and getting a good look at Travis Hunter. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now because training camp is on the horizon. You want to see what your rookies are doing, guys on your favorite team, those guys you're getting ready to draft in fantasy football. It's all right here. Click that button. Stop missing out. Today we're looking at Travis Hunter. We want to talk about what we want to see out of him in training camp, what we want to see from him during his rookie season, fantasy football analysis, plus much, much more. I got mini camp clips from multiple practices combined today. And the thing about Travis Hunter, we're seeing more of him being worked on both sides of the ball from the clips. In the beginning, early on, started OTA, started rookie camp, you saw a lot at wide receiver. Now you're seeing a lot on both sides of the ball, which is good, which is what we expected. I did a video on him early in the process, right before the draft. I cut up a bunch of his clips from interviews. He's locked in on playing both sides of the ball mentally. And I believe the Jaguars knew that. We all knew that. But it was cemented by going through how many times throughout the years he mentioned it. But you're looking at a player here that, if the Jaguars can get going on both sides of the ball, is a huge asset. A huge asset that you rarely get in the National Football League, and it's going to be huge for the Jaguars, especially if you get close to top-tier play. Like, not even have to be up there. I'm just saying, hey, if you're good on both sides of the ball, and you're going to be a huge asset. And now, that's not to him. That's just saying to the asset, like, hey, you're playing on both sides of the ball. You're still a good player both sides of the ball. That's huge for your team, is what I'm saying. That's what you're getting with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter has the potential to be exceptional. That's the thing about him. We saw that at Colorado. He was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. And like I say, when you see a 5-star prospect go wire to wire, level out through their career, you need to pay attention to that guy. Because he went wire to wire, not just a 5-star, not just having an okay college career. He was very dominant. And then we get to the draft, we're drafted very high. So we went wire to wire on all this. We played in the FCS, we did well. We went to Colorado, we did well. Great on both sides of the ball. Great separation. Now there was footage about his route running during rookie camp, and we covered that. The thing about that, though, is one thing we did debunk on that is the turf was pretty roughed up. Go back and look at that video I had. The turf was very roughed up. I grabbed the clips that people were talking about. Another thing is, we had the same discussion. We didn't, but the beat writers did. And it was during training camp where they weren't allowed to post as many video clips. So we may not see much of Travis Hunter in training camp. And Brian Thomas Jr. was noted as not being able to separate, not being able to break off routes, having trouble. That was not the case during his rookie season. So that is something to pay attention to as well. That is something to look at. Brian Thomas Jr. had a very good rookie season last year. Looked good. Totally different players. I think you can note, like, in some of the workouts with Shadur in the offseason that you saw him take a little bit of time on the break. He's a good player. And he's going to make an impact for this team. He is an upgrade already over a lot of wide receivers on that depth chart. Like, he's going to smoke Parker Washington. He's going to smoke him. He's going to roll him up and smoke him and take that job. And you got Brian Thomas Jr. there. That's just going to open things up for him. Like, those two are going to be a good tandem together. Like, Travis Hunter works hard. You can't deny that. He can play both sides of the ball. He's got that stamina. He works hard. He puts the time in. And he's very confident because he puts the time in. He's going to develop. And get it down. And the thing is, him and Brian Thomas Jr., I think that's going to be a nasty tandem. I think they're going to be nasty. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is not going away. He's a very good wide receiver prospect. He already showed that. I think a lot of people are underrating Brian Thomas Jr. when they brought in Hunter because they think it's going to be like Hunter just taking over the off. I think those two are going to feed off each other and be nasty together. I think the big winner here is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, because now you got your 4.3 speed burner with Brian Thomas Jr. who's got one of the nastier release packages. On top of that, he's very assertive. And you got Travis Hunter, who's a dog. He's a gamer. He's a gamer. Look in the back how the turf's broken up. It also rains a lot, especially during the rookie camp era. It rains a lot during those times. That's something to pay attention to. And also, that was also noted with Brian Thomas Jr., so I could definitely see similarities to that with the turf functioning that way, needing an extra step on some of the breaks, because look how banged up it is. And you'll see different little things with the facilities for these teams that you'll just pick up on. That being said, he's a good route runner. He's very nuanced. He's very technical. He's very technical on the sell. Now, is he 100% pristine? No, because we're also good on both sides of the ball. So we're spending time on both sides of the ball. So there are some lapses that's going to be there, but considering we can play at a high level on both sides of the ball, that's good. Now, you're looking at this for fantasy football. Right now on Underdog Fantasy, I'm making wide receiver rankings already, and I'm going to have video out on that probably within the next week, week and a half, maybe sooner. Really depends. I'm getting all the assets ready for that, and then I'll be able to crank out wide receiver videos very good throughout the season. Now we're looking at Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is being priced, I believe, appropriately for the asset he is. High-end, highly drafted wide receiver prospect. He does play both sides of the ball. Highly drafted wide receiver prospect. He's going in that range, and you definitely see when you look at the other wide receivers in his range of the draft when you're going over ADP that he is a speculative asset that has upside, and there's just a certain range of the draft. It's a little expensive, but people pay up for that every year. People pay up for that every year, and that I believe he's priced appropriately because that is what the market says every year, and you're either in or out of that price, and that's what I'm seeing. Because there is upside to that. Because you paid that price last year, you would have got Brian Thomas Jr. at a good discount. And the market's there. He's in the area of like Rome Odunze and a few other younger wide receivers that has the potential to break out due to the talent level, but they're still doing their young rookie ramp up, second year ramp up. There's a few of them. There's like a batch. And if you look at the trends and you look at it from a macro analysis, you'll see those trends of players and they just get drafted in pockets. And you kind of make a storyline of those pockets. He's in that upside young wide receiver trend where these guys got draft capital. They have flashed either at college big time or the talent's there. We all know it. We want to see if it gets materialized. But we also know they're in their infant stages of their career. We want to know if things are going to happen. Maybe there's something situational. He's right in that pocket right there. He's right in that pocket. And those wide receivers go in that pocket every year. And if he was above that pocket, that'd be very concerning. Marvin Harrison Jr. went on the 1-2 turn pretty much. Sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. But with the rookie ramp up, him being a younger wide receiver, with that being in his range of outcomes, and to a huge degree with all rookies, that was a concern. That was a concern in the price tag. But he's in that range where it's priced appropriately for the asset. And that's not him. That's the asset. He's in that range of wide receivers who get drafted in his range, who has upside, who could materialize and go off, that you're looking at as a speculative asset on your team. You're able to stack up some good wide receivers, a running back here and there. You're probably able to go 2-3 wide receivers, 2-3 running backs, and then get him. Really depends on your draft. And in redraft, he's going to be a little cheaper, a couple rounds cheaper than that, because that's how that works. In redraft, depending on your home league, and I'm talking broadly here, so if you're drafting with Martha from accounting, you might catch him super cheap. If you're drafting with friends and half of them are in the know, half of them are watching videos, looking at rankings, and half of them are looking up data, he's probably going to go closer to that underdog ADP, but maybe a little bit less due to not everybody being finely tuned. Really depends on your league, depends on where it's at. That being said, historically, or at least from what we've been looking at year after year, price range is where market is usually at for a player like this. So I'm actually kind of proud of you guys with your bets because you're just staying with the market. Now, what I'm thinking about, rookie ramp up, always give rookies their ramp up. I expect that to be in there. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be huge for him. We see these guys working out, talking with each other. I think Travis Hunter is going to have some moments this year. He's going to at least flash a little bit. I think he will have some games where he's productive in fantasy football. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is not going away. I think Brian Thomas Jr. will have a good season. I think Travis Hunter will have his moments. I think he'll have his moments. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts off a little bit slow and feels anticlimactic in the first couple weeks, because I would expect that with him learning two positions. Rookies always needing time to ramp up. If you're trying to get him in Dynasty Fantasy Football, but you did not like the price in some of these leagues because he's different per person. Some people are over the moon. Some people think he's the next Justin Jefferson. Some people are very timid. If it feels anticlimactic first 3 to 5 weeks of the season, I'm expecting him to have a good career. I'm expecting him to be productive, to have you good production. I think the realm of outcomes is all over the place, but I think the odds of him straight up busting is very, very, very low, that I feel very nervous trying to throw that out there. That being said, the upside of Justin Jefferson, it's very hard to do. It's very hard to do. You're talking Jerry Rice-esque levels of that. That's very hard to do. I would probably say if you want to average things out and you just took his attributes, his talent, and you simulated his career probably 100 times, you'd probably get like a Devonta Smith-ish production range with what we're seeing here. You're seeing the Jaguars. Jaguars are going to be the Jaguars of Trevor Lawrence. You got Brian Thomas Jr. There's no way he's not getting a 20% target share throughout his career. There's no way. There's just no way. It's not like he's taking a back seat. There's no way. You can get all the targets going to these two wide receivers, but it's going to be hard for one of these two guys to get to the 30% range and stay there. Now, you might get one, and it might be for a couple seasons, but it's going to revert back because these are two good wide receivers. I look for Brian Thomas Jr. to be a good get in his offense. A good get in his offense for the long haul. I think Hunter's going to play off well with that. Using him short to intermediate, but still deep. Good around the boundary. Very smart player. Very smart player. What are we expecting from training camp? First thing I'm expecting from training camp from the Jacksonville Jaguars is they're not going to let their beat writers cook. They did not let the beat writers cook last year. Limited clips. When I get the clips, I will have a lot of information, though, because since they're not able or wasn't able, they may be able to get this many clips, I'm going to be able to read off like just about every snap, 7 on 7, 11 on 11, the drills from some of these beat writers, because they'll just keep tweeting it out and you pretty much know what's happening, and it's pretty much like there's no opinion to it. It's straight up what happens. So you kind of get a good feel of what's going on. You can definitely tell by the rate of completions, everything else. If there is something emotional to it, it's usually due to a big play, big injury, or something like that. I'm expecting to hear his name called a little bit more. I'm expecting him to be used on both sides of the ball. I'm expecting there to be a ramp-up period. I'm expecting him to keep being used like one practice more at wide receiver, one practice more at DB. I think joint practices are going to be very fun with him. I think that's going to be interesting. I think he's going to materialize to be a huge asset for this team. I think he's going to be a huge asset for this team. I think he's going to be a cornerstone piece to this team. Like, in a different way. Like, he's his own player that we're not used to having. Like, we're not used to having this and calling it out. But he's going to be in that role. And you'll know what I'm talking about when it happens, where he is going to be a huge star in the league. And we're going to look at him playing both sides of the ball. He's going to be getting it done. I think he'll get you a good production. It'll be usable in fantasy. But yet, making highlights on defense, having some highlight plays on offense. I think this is going to be a different type of asset you're not used to looking at. And you're going to go over it. And it's going to be very confusing because talent-wise, you put everything together and mold it, you're looking at like a top tier echelon talent. But now it's split up between two different positions, and it's just going to look different. really since like Dion, but you're not really used to having all the clips. Guys like me talking about them throughout the offseason with the clips, letting you know what's going on. You're not used to having all this behind the scenes. You're not used to having social media just blare it out. But you'll realize that, hey, this is a star. This is a cornerstone player that's going to be good all over the place. That's going to make a huge impact. That's what you're getting from Travis Hunter. When I look at him for fantasy football, I think this is going to be a player that's a speculative asset right now. And it could go 2 ways, 3 ways. I believe the middle one's probably it. But he could just go nuclear. It is in the realm of possibilities. Like, that is in the realm of possibilities. Like, he could go nuclear. The other one, I don't see him busting at all. I just don't see it. I have a good feel. I just don't see it. The one in the middle, usually the middle one, when it's like that, it's going to be like a ramp up. Then all of a sudden, he's going to give you some promise. He's going to make you feel very, very, very good in 2026. He's going to have some very good highlights this year. He's going to have some very good moments. You're going to know, like, hey, this is a cornerstone player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're going to know. By the time you're carving your turkey, you're going to know this is the cornerstone player. That's what you're really going to know. That's it. That's probably the right thing. Usually, it's in the middle of what you're going to give, what the hype is saying, the down and the ups. Usually, I think by the time you're carving your turkey, you're going to know he's a cornerstone player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.